This is the Best of Golic and Wingo podcast.
Stolen another bit from the Levitard show, killing people.
The fact that you had to sort of explain that says so much.
It was poor phrasing. I didn't mean to kill Ed.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. It seems like a great guy. Awesome pipes.
Son's out there doing his thing now.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I could say a lot looser in the sleeve, though.
Yeah.
He's working. It'd take a while to get up to legendary status of his dad, who's no longer with us. On the field.
Yeah.
On the field. Again, we are Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio, live from the Northern Trust at Ridgewood Country Club in Paramus, New Jersey. We are presented by Progressive Insurance, and all phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, including our next guest, who is perpetually and forever going to be a friend of the show. It is our former colleague here at ESPN, Mark Schlereth, three-time Super Bowl champ, who does a great job at ESPN 104.3 The Fan in Denver on his morning radio station. But the reason we're having Mark on today is he is the only player that we know of that can relate to what Travis Frederick, the Cowboys center, is going through. For those of you that may not have understood, the Pro Bowl center announced on Twitter that he's suffering from an autoimmune disease called Guillain-Barré syndrome, basically where it takes away the strength in your arms and your legs as your body attacks the nerve system. He is diagnosed with the disease after exhaustive tests. It is not known if he'll be able to play this season. It is a long-term prognosis. They think they caught it early. But why are we talking to Mark Schlereth about this? Well, not only because Mark's a great guy and he's an offensive lineman, he is the only player that we know of who has ever had this disease and come back to play, and play at a very high level, we should add, in the NFL, going to win 2 Super Bowls after that diagnosis with the Denver Broncos. Hey, Stink, thanks for being with us this morning. How are you, champ?
I am doing great. Always good to be with you guys. Listen to you every morning when I'm driving in to do my show.
Well, listen, if we can help you do your show, then we've done our job. But listen,
I steal stuff from you guys every day, so it's just the way it goes. You know how this business is.
Yeah, well, we're stealing from you now because you are really the source on this. You went through this. Tell us a little bit about your story. I think it was after the 93 season or between the 93 and 94 seasons where you started to have the exact same symptoms that Travis had.
Yeah, in 1993, I went into training camp, and I just felt a little off. I felt lethargic a little bit. I just didn't have my normal stuff, and I didn't know what was going on. And as the season progressed, I was blocking guys, and I'd be like really in good position, and all of a sudden, the guy would be by me, or I'd fall down, and I had no idea what was going on. And then eventually, about midway through the season, I got done with a Wednesday practice. I cut the tape off my foot, my left foot, and my toes were numb. And I just assumed, my tape was probably too tight. We don't ever look at things. We're guys, right? We don't look at things and go, wow, I wonder if something's wrong. The tape's too tight. I wake up the next morning, and the bottom of my foot is completely numb and part of the top of my foot. And I get, over to the facility, and I talk to the doctor, and I talk to a couple people, and, it goes on throughout the course of the week. And then, after Thursday's practice, now my toes on my right foot are going numb. And by the time I got to Saturday to play the Giants, we were in the hotel. And my feet were completely numb. My hands were going numb. And of course, as a football player, what do? You show up to the game. You show up to the Meadowlands on Sunday with your feet completely numb and your hands completely numb, and you play because that's how dumb I am. And I'm stumbling around, getting tossed around. I thought I broke my leg. Because my ankle rolled a couple times. I ended up pulling myself out of the game and then spent the next 8 days in the hospital trying to diagnose what was going on with me as my paralysis or my numbness creeped all the way up into about my knees. So the bottom of my whole legs were numb. From my elbows down were numb. And that lasted over 8 days. That's how numb I got. That lasted for about 6 months. I went from 295 to about 230. It was an absolute disaster. By the time I went back to camp in 1994, I was 270 coming back, and I still had about 4 or 5 toes that were completely numb. And I did not regain my strength. I played that season, but I did not regain my strength until about November, December of the 94 season. So in total, I was afflicted with this for about 17 months before I ended up getting my strength back and started playing well again.
Wow, that is unbelievable. So that was during the season. So with Travis Frederick, it's before the season. And again, they talked about an early diagnosis, which is good. But given what you just said and given when it was found out with him, do you have real doubts that he'll be able to play this season?
Yeah, I think obviously the treatments are different now, Mike. They found it early through blood testing. It's still a process of elimination, to the best of my knowledge. But now they do a dialysis where they actually take your blood out and cleanse it and use some medications, like some steroidal type of medications so you can hopefully get some of your strength back. But what you have to understand is the way it was explained to me is basically autoimmune. So your body is attacking itself. And it's like an allergic reaction to a flu virus or whatever virus you have, where your body actually attacks the protective waxy coating that's across all your nerves. So what ends up happening is the signal from your brain down to your extremities gets interrupted during the course of, whatever you're doing. And so your brain may be saying, hey, you need to move your foot 6 inches to the right, because this guy is moving. Like, we don't think about that. Your brain just does it. And all of a sudden that signal gets interrupted. And that's why I was blocking a guy. And next thing I know, I'd be on the ground because that signal goes down, but it gets interrupted going there. So you can treat the body, and you could feel on the outside pretty good, but you could have some nerve damage, and sometimes the nerve damage is permanent, God forbid. Sometimes there's people that end up being paralyzed for the rest of their lives. It's a very serious disease, and the thing about it is everybody is affected differently. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Talking to Mark Schlereth, former NFL offensive lineman and someone who has come back from Guillain-Barré syndrome that Travis Frederick is attempting to now. And Mark, I'm interested just because during the course of your NFL career, we know a lot about the various knee surgeries, the other injuries that you had to overcome as a player that are a little more what we're used to. How is the rehab process and the process of coming back from this on a day-to-day basis so much different for you?
Because you can't do anything, Mike. You just, if I went downstairs, I'd always go downstairs in the morning and make sandwiches for the kids. That was like a day's work for me. I would go down and make their lunches, and then I would go back upstairs and I'd sleep for 3 hours. All you can do essentially is rest and hope that your body recovers. Wow. So there's the frustration of not being able to do anything. I was weak as a wet kitten when I finally came back in March and started trying to work out again. I had no muscle memory. It was like starting over again from scratch. I was about 235, 240, offensive lineman rolling in there at 235. It was a devastating sickness. And I had my numbness, I was completely numb. Like I said, from my knees down to my elbows down, I was completely numb for about 3 months. And then slowly, after 3 months, every couple of weeks, I would notice, hey, I've got about an inch more feeling in my legs. So it started just kind of dissipating, going down my legs. But that took another 3 or 4 months. And as I said, after 9 months of numbness, I still had 3 or 4 toes that were completely numb by the time I went back to training camp.
Wow. Mark Schlereth with us, our former colleague here, does a great job for us on the Fan 104.3 in Denver, ESPN Radio out there. Listen, we know you're driving in on your way to work, so we don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I just want to ask you, brother, have you had a chance to speak with Travis Frederick, or if you did, what would you tell him? I reached out to the Cowboys. I talked to the Cowboys. I've got a message into Travis, and the whole process of that is just to say, hey, man, moral support. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But what I would tell him is that, this is your health. It's far more important than playing. And just because, you start to feel better on the outside, understand that this virus attacks your central nervous system, which is in the inside of you, and you just don't know. And so, take your time and make sure that you're right. Make sure that those signals aren't being interrupted because, obviously, then you go out and your quarterback's life is in your hands, so to speak, and it just is one of those situations where it's time and you got to let it run its course. And I'm just prayerfully, considering that he's going to have a full recovery and he's going to be fine. But it's a very scary disease. And, about 85% of the people that get it, have full recovery,
but there are still people, like I said, that I must have answered 100 things on Twitter yesterday, people telling me their stories where, they have permanent nerve damage or they're permanently paralyzed. It's a very serious disease, and it afflicts about 1 in 100,000 people.
Well, listen, we're glad you fully recovered, and we're certainly hoping for the best for Travis Frederick. You were the one person to talk to on the story because there is no one else that can appreciate what Travis is going through and trying to do than you, because you did it and went on to win 2 Super Bowls after it. So you are the success story that I'm certain that all the Cowboys fans and Travis Frederick's family and friends are pulling for. Stink, always good to hear you, brother. Love you, man.
Thanks, Stink. See you, man.
I love you guys. Later.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I had no idea that it was that bad, that serious.
It's terrifying because, like he said, we're all dumb when it comes to sports, and you have these external injuries and think you can overcome it. But the fear anytime something internal comes up with guys in the locker room, because it's so far out of the realm of what you know. And so to hear all of that, I mean, God, just the nerve. I remember when Jake was going through that with his back, the fear when you talk to someone and you can't feel from your waist down, you can't feel these certain things, is so much different. So the fact that Mark reached out, that Zach and the rest of that offensive line group, I know, will wrap their arms around him, but what a scary time for a young guy.
Absolutely, and we appreciate him coming up and sharing him and getting ready for work on the same day. All right, we got it. All right, coming up next, the Browns will have more wins than the Giants this season. Book it?
Oh, boy.
We'll get to that after this.
Golic
and Wingo.
and Wingo.
Trey Wingo and Mike Golic Sr.
Oh, yeah.
The People's Court music?
Love it.
Feels
Get
good.
out of here.
Sports Center brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Player doesn't like a contract, they hold out, right? With Straight Talk Wireless, you never have to because there is no contract, and they use the same exact 4G LTE towers as the big carriers, but for a lot less. Straight Talk Wireless only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
All right, Golic and Wingo here from the Northern Trust at the Ridgewood Country Club in Paramus, New Jersey on ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. On phone guests on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And we're multimedia.
Yes, we are.
We are doing it on Twitter. We are doing Book It on Twitter.
Live.
So let's go. Let's start playing Book It, Junior.
All right, here we go, guys. Book it. You know the drill.
Did you know the drill? It looked like you didn't know what we were doing there.
Listen, I just housed a bacon, egg, and cheese right before we went on air to do that read, so I swallowed it whole like a shark. I'm not feeling great. Browns will win more games than the Giants this year. Book it.
Giants over under in Vegas is 7. Browns is 6. I will not book that. I think the Giants will win more games than the Browns this year.
Yeah, look, I'm excited for the Browns.
I am too.
And I think they will win games this year, not a game, but they've won 1 in the last 2 years. I will not book that in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, that's kind of weak. I'm going to book it. We talk about how weak the AFC is comparatively as a conference to the NFC. You've got the Thunderdome over on the other side. I'm buying the Browns Kool-Aid, especially after last night. You see the Browns defense, the way they're playing last night. If that group can keep it up, if Myles Garrett has the year we're all predicting,
I also saw their offense.
All right, here we go. Locally, Odell Beckham Jr. will have a new contract before Week 1. Book it.
Absolutely book it. Without question. Book that. 3 other wide receivers from the 2014 draft are making at least $16 million a year. Mike Evans, Sammy Watkins, Brandon Cooks. You can add Odell to that. He'll be making over $17 million, I believe, a year. That deal will get done.
Book it. It is going to get done very soon.
Yeah, I think this is an easy book it here, and this is one that makes sense and flies in the face of conventional wisdom. No holdout here, no problem. All right, speaking of preseason, Sean McVay will regret not playing his stars this preseason. Book it?
I don't think I'm going to book that. I mean, you can get away with what you want to in practice. Do your thing. You're not going to get a guy hurt in the preseason. I guess we're going to find out, but I'm going to go the way just to make the players happy to think that if you don't play, it'll be better for you.
Yeah, I'm not going to book that because I don't think Sean McVay does regret at all. He has a firm belief in what he does. And I don't think regret is part of his vocabulary, so no, he's not going to regret it.
The only thing they're going to regret is not paying Aaron Donald sooner.
Facts.
That's the one thing that has the chance to at least spike the beginning of the season as they break in all these new players. All right, here we go. Trey, I want to get this one in for you right now. Zlatan Ibrahimovic will score his 499th and 500th goals tonight. You can book it?
I am booking this in the strongest way possible. You can book anything. Look, he's gone 2 games without it. He's sitting there. He's waiting. It's the crosstown rivalry, and we all know when the moment is a little bigger, Zlatan is even more Zlatan. I am booking it. He gets $4.99 and $500 tonight.
I am not booking it. I think, as he said,
Zlatan is not happy with you.
Who's the victim going to be? Nobody wants to be that victim, so they're going to be really locked in to not let him get their 500th on that person.
I have no idea who he's playing against or the last time he scored 2 goals, but I have unwavering confidence in this man. Book it all the way.
You can book it.
If you could describe Zlatan in one phrase, it would be unwavering confidence. Coming up, we'll talk to a coach who is getting his best offensive player and his best defensive player back this season. How happy is he? As happy as we are to be at a golf course on a Friday morning and not anywhere else.
Book it.
Golic.
I tell you what, a great sports night last night, no doubt about it.
And Wingo.
What a day, what a show, what a time.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And of course, we come back with the Caddyshack theme. That makes all the sense in the world. Glad you're with us on a beautiful Friday morning. Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive Insurance. Our phone guest will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We'll get to that in just a minute. But we're delighted to be joined on the set here at the Ridgewood Country Club in Paramus, New Jersey, where we are for today's Northern Trust, the second round, by a former teammate of Mike Golic's. Jeff Feagles is here, Super Bowl champion and New York Giants broadcaster Jeff Feagles joins us, giving us the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. If nothing else, Jeff, I know you're a huge golfer, so thank me for this.
You're welcome.
I've finally gotten your big boy involved and interested in golf. It took a while, but I wore him down.
It took a long time. Are you kidding me? We had a great discussion about it yesterday, and I've invited Mike back to the course here.
This is Jeff's home course, by the way, Ridgewood Country Club. So
when we were walking around yesterday, we're looking at some of the greens and how things were, I said, Mike, this is a real golf course. You're going to come back out and play this. So he says, Fees, I'm getting into golf. I'm really into it. I lost all this weight, and I can now turn on the ball. I can hit. So he gave me all of the excuses.
Yeah. Well, that's the first thing he does. He gives you the excuses, then he sandbags you to death.
We'll see what happens when I beat him.
Of course, he brought up exactly what everybody does when you go and play a better golfer than they are. Is I'm going to get strokes.
Oh, he wants like 30 strokes aside and 4 mulligans. I think was the first thing he asked me for.
No problem with that.
I know how to take care of Mike Golic on the golf course.
Just keep eating.
You need a golf cart.
Yeah.
You need beers, and you need food.
There you go.
Those 3 things will take him through 18 holes.
Very simple man like that. Man of simple taste, which I appreciate. Yes. I said, you walk out here, and I think it's just the Golic gene. I start itching. Like, I don't have a cigar and a beer in my hand. Something feels kind of off in the universe.
All right. So, that's Golic's version of golf. Again, I've told him he's missing out. Like, I went up and played Cabot Links in Nova Scotia. You played it?
No, but
it's fantastic.
I saw the pictures.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
And again, he's like, did you have a cart? I'm like, no. He goes, no cart, no Golic. So you're missing out on some of the great golf experiences. You know where else you don't get a ride in a cart? That would be the Ryder Cup.
Yes.
It's slightly more significant than your beer cart shotgun rounds. And it is a Ryder Cup year. Ryder Cup is my favorite sporting event of anything going out there. It's the only sporting event I know where millionaires play for free, and it is all on the line. So with that in mind, we are delighted to be joined now on the show by the 2018 U.S. Ryder Cup champion, Jim Furyk, also the 2003 U.S. Open champion at Olympia Fields outside of Chicago. He joins us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Jim, thanks for being with us this morning. How are you?
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you. And there are carts at the Ryder Cup. That's what the captain and the vice captains ride in. There's like 6 of those things running around.
Jim, I need to be a vice captain just in name, just so I can have a golf cart. I won't do anything to mess your guys' chances up, but God knows I need a golf cart.
Jim, don't do it.
Well, they have big coolers on the back, I'll say that.
This is getting better every time.
Wow.
Jimmy knows. Hey, he's a good Western PA guy. He knows about how to work his way around the golf course in the cart or in the Ryder Cup. First of all, before we get into the question everybody wants an answer to, and you did a great job not answering Monday morning after the PGA, for a guy that's played on so many Ryder Cups and been involved on both sides of it, what did it mean to you when they said, hey, Jim Furyk, we want you to captain the U.S. side?
Obviously it's a huge honor. I think I played in 9 of those, and along the way started thinking maybe, hey, in the future I could get the opportunity to do this. So I was taking notes along the way and trying to figure out, how I would want to run a team. I was floored. I mean, it was kind of a little bit of a dream come true, but also I'd hit you. It's a big responsibility. There's a lot of folks relying on you, and I'm fortunate to have a great team. I mean, I'll have 5 great vice captains with me. The PGA of America has been a huge help, and I have a lot of resources at my fingertips. So it's a big responsibility, but I'm enjoying it, and we're getting down to crunch time, so I'm excited. I've been waiting for 6 months ago. It seemed like it was so far in the future. It's fun that it's close right now.
Jim, one of the things we've been talking about is athletes now with a microphone trying to take fans down onto their particular field of play and get them inside. So for you, with the Ryder Cup, take everybody down on there as a player in the Ryder Cup, but just why it's so different than the Tour and why it means so much to the players.
Well, it is a totally unique atmosphere. Everyone in a normal tour event, everything's pretty quiet. You get the polite golf claps. You do get some roars at maybe at the Masters for a Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods. At the PGA, surely you could tell exactly where Tiger was on the golf course.
Yeah.
But this atmosphere is like that 24/7. It's like that for 3 straight days for every session. The hairs are standing up on your arms. It's just hard for the players to process it. We put so much pressure on ourselves and try so hard. And it's funny, I think just because we're representing our country, we're playing for a team. I mean, it's something that these guys strive for, and it's a goal for each and every one of them to start the year to make these teams. And I think sometimes we do that too much. We put too much pressure on ourselves. We have to realize that we have millions of fans at home pulling for us. You have 11 teammates to rely on that are pulling for you. And instead of maybe us putting so much pressure on ourselves, I think you see so much great golf come out of this because guys really, they enjoy that. They enjoy that atmosphere and everyone pulling for them, and I think they rise to the occasion sometimes as well.
Talking to Jim Furyk, captain of the Ryder Cup team. We mentioned going down inside the locker room. Take us where we can't go. Inside that Ryder Cup locker room, if I were to look around this season, how likely would you say it is that I would look around and see Tiger Woods as one of my teammates?
Yeah, let's go, Jimmy. Come on. Let's get the breaking news sounder ready.
I've been asked that question probably 600 times. I would say yours was probably the second most creative. The roundabout way, lead in, and then drop the bomb. I like it. We're working through that process, and it does me no good to give anyone really a hint of what we're thinking, what we're doing as a team. Obviously, Tiger's involved in that process as a vice captain. He's playing great. It was so much fun to watch him at the Open Championship, at the PGA, to rise to that occasion. He's moved himself all the way up to 11th on the points list. And, the word I've been using, I loved it when he said he was trending and he kind of winked at the camera. I loved it. He's got a lot of confidence in his game right now. So, we couldn't be happier that you have probably the best player to ever live playing really well right now. So we're excited about that, and we'll see how things shake out.
Cool. So Jim Furyk says Tiger Woods is going to be on the team. That's awesome. Breaking news.
I would think, Jim, the best way to not get asked any more questions about it would be just to say he's on the team, and then you're done with it, right? Wouldn't that be the easiest way?
Well, I guess, but I feel as an athlete, like you all get to ask questions and we get to answer. And it's kind of been fun for me. I don't have to answer. I'm not answering, and y'all are just going to keep asking, so it works out. That's kind of what we're going to say.
Jim, we must say we did have some fun with you after that press conference.
That was fun, yeah.
You tried. It was great to find a million different ways to not say it and just say he's playing really great. It was very, very cool. But he's come out and said it. He's like, look, I'm hoping to be there, but not as a vice captain. So we'll see what happens there. Another really interesting selection, as we're talking to Jim Furyk, 17-time winner on the PGA Tour. He won the 2003 U.S. Open at Olympia Fields. And actually shot a 58 as well on PGA Tour at the Travelers a few years ago. One guy that I think might be a really interesting case study for the Ryder Cup would be Tony Finau. And you got to see that second round at the PGA Championship at Belle Reve on Saturday when he shot a 4-under, and he didn't have a single par on the front side. He started with 5 straight birdies and then had a triple, 2 more birdies and a bogey on his way to a 32. It was absolutely phenomenal. What do you think of a guy like Tony Finau, who, as you saw, can score in bunches, and in match play, that can be a huge weapon?
Yeah, he's explosive. I'm amazed at how. He's a big, strong, athletic kid. Had some Division I basketball scholarship offers. I'm amazed at how far the guy hits it, and I see guys hit it, fly it over 300 yards all the time. But He's explosive. He has a lot of power. He's a great kid. I mean, he really is a good human being as well, which is probably most important when you're talking about Tony.
No question.
And it's definitely in the mix. I mean, he's had a good year, and someone that we have our eye on. You know, we have some big events now. The guys are right now, as you said, they're in Paramus. They're playing in Northern Trust. We go to Deutsche Bank in Boston next week, and we have to make 3 picks. We have an event in Philadelphia, the BMW, and we make our 4th pick. So, right now I'm in kind of close contact with the vice captains. We have a little text chain going. We chat every day. Some of them are playing. Zach, some of them are playing, and you have Tiger. You have
Phil.
Phil playing. Actually, I saw Lefty went out. He's 2 under through 2 this morning, tied for the lead. Right as we got on the phone. So we've got a number of guys playing in the field that we're looking at. I think, safe to say, you look at like the top 20 on the Ryder Cup's points list, and then you from there, hot guys. I mean, Snedeker played a great round last week, 59, wins a golf tournament. I think he was maybe in the 30s or 40s on the Ryder Cup list, but heck, 59 and a win, all of a sudden he's on our radar and we're looking at him. I was, I felt really bad for Brandt that he had to withdraw this week with an injury, but still a guy on our radar. I hope he heals up. I hope he plays well in Boston. I hope he plays well in Philly. So we're looking at everyone and keeping our eyes open. But the captains and I, it's kind of a fun time of the year and a fun process. And it's good to see different perspectives, I guess. Everyone's kind of got a different look on this thing, and the 4 of us, the 5 of us, the 6 of us kind of have to put our heads together.
Well, Jim, we appreciate you being with us this morning. And, of course, we know you're also keeping your eye on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Grew up in Western Pennsylvania. Avid Steelers fan. Hopefully we'll get that Le'Veon Bell contract worked out for you. And he'll be in and ready to roll in 2018.
Out. Hey, who gave me the Charlie Brown comment with the wah, 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 wah?
That would have been Mike Golic.
Oh, no, that was me.
That was Mike Golic.
That was
Golic. Golic, I've always been a big fan, but I don't know now. I'm kind of...
There you go. Stick with the guys that know golf, Jimmy. Stick with the guys that know golf. All right, Jim, we appreciate you being with us.
I liked it. Thanks,
Jim.
And thanks for breaking the news about Tiger making the squad. Appreciate that.
Thanks,
Jim Furyk.
That's great.
By the way, the other thing about Jim Furyk, people always talk about his swing. Whenever he hits a good shot, have you ever noticed he squints with one eye? Like that ball's going in the hole. He stares it down with that one eye.
Right. Tony Finau, by the way, 15th right now on the list. Phil Mickelson is 10. Tiger Woods is 11th after the top 8, who are obviously guaranteed a spot. We did have our fun with Jim.
Absolutely.
No doubt. And he was a good sport about it.
Great dude. And every time I covered the Open or the U.S. Open, we'd always talk Pittsburgh Steelers stuff as we're walking down the fairways in the practice rounds. Really, really great dude. And he'll do a great job. He'll pick the right people. Golic and Wingo live today from New Jersey for the Giants-Jets matchup, brought to you by Grainger. Coming up, what's the latest on Odell Beckham Jr. and the Giants? We'll tell you next on Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio.
Golic and Wingo.
It was all sort of one big giant Jell-O mold.
It's very interesting where that went.
Oh, what a Friday morning it is. Glad you're with us. Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN Radio. Live from the Northern Trust at the Ridgewood Country Club in Paramus, New Jersey. The first stop on the FedEx Cup playoffs on the PGA Tour, the first of 4 stops. It is a beautiful Friday morning. The chill in the air has been replaced by a blazing ball of sun and fire in the sky. Mike Golic Jr., Trey Wingo here with you, and delighted to have on as our special guest, Super Bowl champion and a part of the Giants broadcast team, Giants, Jeff Feagles.
Thank you.
Longtime punter, 22 years in the league. Suffered through many years as a teammate with Mike Golic as well, and there's some stories we'll get into there.
Oh, yeah.
Some good ones.
Yeah, there's some good stories through the years, as they say, from us playing together to all staying close and having all the kids. And there's one actually between all the kids. Jeff has 4: CJ, Blake, Trevor, and Zach. There's one athlete left, and that's Zach.
Yeah,
Zach
last man standing.
Is a sophomore. He's the punter. Shocking for the U in Miami. So doing very well down there.
He hasn't got to put the turnover chain on yet,
Yeah.
but.
He'll get there.
He also got to stand on the sideline last year for most of the Notre Dame game because you guys weren't punting a whole lot.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to bring that up, Mikey. I was not. There was not enough time in this show to go over that.
We are the pettiest show in America, so you knew that was coming out. And apparently, he tried his best to harm all of your children. Jeff Fiegels did.
He did.
We'll get into that story as well.
Yeah.
And apparently, he's very generous when it comes to bets on the golf course. We will also get into all of that because there's a lot on the meat on that bone. But let's start as we always do with what's trending.
This is important.
And it's important that you guys recognize just what Braves rookie Ronald Acuna Jr. is doing it. Braves played the Marlins and met for the first time since August 15th when Marlins starter Jose Urena plunked Acuna on the first and only pitch after he got kicked out and then was suspended 6 games for that. So what do they say? Revenge is best served cold, or when the other team has to suffer your revenge for what you did to him. Acuna Jr. hit a 432-foot home run in the third inning, his 21st of the year, and Mike his 10th this month.
It is absolutely incredible. The fifth 20-year-old in baseball history to hit at least 10 home runs in a calendar month, joining 3 Hall of Famers and a future Hall of Famer, and Mel Ott, Frank Robinson, Willie Mays, and Mike Trout. Oh, by the way, he hit that homer in the third. In the 6th inning, he got hit by a pitch. Now, wasn't on purpose there because it was a 4th pitch of the at-bat, so that one wasn't on purpose. But still, this guy's got to be like, wait a minute, we play the Marlins and I guess
what do you know not on purpose? You never.
Well, that one wasn't. I mean, the last
is there a
time
rule
it was,
that the 4th pitch can't be on purpose?
That's what I'm saying.
No, I don't think it was.
You're really going to sneak it in there on that 4th pitch, like, all right, I got him to relax now. The lap meet is
everybody's
open.
quiet now. Nobody knows. I got the first pitch.
I guess it's less obvious, than the first pitch of the game.
Best way to say it.
It was an 0-2 count at that point, so probably.
It wasn't on purpose. But this kid is just a monster. He's unbelievable with what he's doing.
Yeah, 7 home runs in the past 7 games. Remember, that streak was preserved because he was hit by that pitch in the at-bat, so it allowed him to go forward. But he's tied right now for the the second longest home run streak versus a single opponent in Braves history.
Yeah, he's doing well, and he's continuing to make history in his young career.
For a team that's leading the division, by the way,
and that's
the
best part. Listen, it looks like you may get to see a little bit of this guy in the postseason as the Braves are right there in the middle of it. We continue what's trending with more baseball. And if it weren't for bad luck, Jacob deGrom would have no luck. Let's just say it that way. Jacob deGrom allowed 1 earned run, struck out 10 in 6 innings, but took the loss as Madison Bumgarner and the Giants beat New York 3-1. And adding insult to injury, it was Bumgarner with an RBI double who had the only earned run off of Jacob deGrom.
DeGrom is now 8-8, but he has a Major Baseball leading 1.71 ERA. He's probably battling Aaron Nola from Philadelphia, Max Scherzer from the Nationals for that Cy Young. The record for least amount of wins winning a Cy Young is tied. It's Felix Hernandez, who did it a few years ago, with 13 wins. And in 2010, Fernando Valenzuela did it in a strike-shortened year. That was in 2010. Hernandez is 1981 for Fernando Valenzuela's in that strike-shortened year. So really, I know. The old man. For Valenzuela, remember, he'd look up right before the pitch and stuff. Really, the lefty that didn't have the greatest body in the world as an athlete, but he certainly got it done. But that 1.71 ERA, so Jeff, let's put it in punting terms. The ERA is a monster stat for, obviously, the pitchers. What stat would you say a punter is most proud of that makes a punter look the best?
Is this the time when everybody turns the show off and leaves or goes to the bathroom?
Can I take a guess? Yes. It's net, right?
It's net average.
Thank you. It's not the average of the punt. It's net average.
It's your net average. Up until probably 5-6 years ago, probably even longer than that, but there was nobody ever had a 40-yard net average coming into the season.
Explain what a net average is.
So a net average, I kick at 50, they return at 10 yards, it's a net of 40. Right. So in punting terms, the 1.71 ERA, you want to have a 40-yard net average, which is all about the team. You want it because you don't want to just kick it for average. Hey, pump your chest. I averaged 60 yards this game.
Because if you outkick your coverage,
you're going to have run back. Right. So I think that what's happened over time now, and not to dwell on this whole punting thing, but there was only a couple guys that had 40-yard net punting averages going into 2008. I ended up having one of them that year. That was always my goal, to be over 40. I retired the next year. Now,
good job.
Half the league has them over 40.
Oh, they do. And I think the biggest difference as well, and you sit there and joke about talking about punting, but we're talking about position change, or field change, is there's no more coffin corner. You were the king of that.
It's a dying art.
It is. Now they all do that. The
Aussie rules kick, which, by the way, I will tell you, I know why they do it. It's just so effective. Yeah. It's an easy kick. It's, the Australian rule guys, that's how they pass the football in their own little league. And these guys come in and they can just put it where they want to. If I knew how to do that kick when I was playing, Oh my goodness!
So your son punting? Did you try and teach him the corner?
I didn't teach him it. He just does the regular Australian. But you can do a little directional with that Australian rules kick.
So, can I tell you something? When I was over in Sydney this summer, I actually met with the Sydney Swans, and I saw them. It's remarkable the English they can put on that ball. It's insane.
Crazy.
It's absolutely insane.
It's like the old Bellata golf ball.
Yeah. Speaking of punters and Australians and deep dives, Michael Dixon. Guy out in Seattle, the Seahawks punter. I mean, my God, this kid, an absolute howitzer for a leg. Got to be exciting watching a guy like that.
I was, John, the punter for Seattle had been there forever.
John Ryan, yeah.
And he just got released because of that young guy. So the thing that you're going to need to watch this year is that Marquette King has gone to the Denver Broncos.
The Broncos, right.
In that Mile High.
Look out.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Look out. And now the punter that was in Dallas is now with the Giants, Riley Dixon. We'll be talking about that game soon, I'm sure, but we won't be talking about the punter.
Exactly. Jeff Feagles is with us, former teammate of yours, Super Bowl champion, with us, does a great job as part of the New York Giants broadcast. You know we're a little too geeked up on football, but we just spent 5 minutes talking about punters.
Love
yes, we did.
Man, it's so good.
At least we're owning who we are.
It's all about making the guests feel good.
That's what we're doing.
Yes.
We may be petty amongst ourselves, but we're very
we'll get petty with Jeff soon.
We're very accompanying when it comes to our guests. All right, we finish up what's trending.
This is important.
With Tiger Woods listen, at least he's consistent. Shot a 71 in his opening round right here at the Northern Trust. It was the 12th time in 15 tournaments this year on tour in which he'd failed to break par in the first round.
Yeah, well, 4 players started the day at the lead going into today at 5 under, then 13 at 4 under, so plenty doing well. We had heard Jim Furyk even told us Phil Mickelson, who started this day 3 under in the first 2 holes, 2 birdies, he was 5 under. I'm not sure where he is right now, but this is when he's 7 under now is Phil Mickelson, really having himself a day. So we'll see where Tiger can jump into it, as Phil and Tiger both trying to be captain's pick for the Ryder Cup, with Jim Furyk making that decision pretty soon.
Yeah, he already made the decision. He told us.
Yeah,
he didn't really tell us.
On your show, of all things. That's amazing.
You got to read between the lines with Jimmy. That's what I found out, is you're going to schmooze him a little bit. You get him right there. But once he's ready to go, and he just opened up like a delicate flower for us. It was a lovely interview.
Again, Feegs, this is your course. Best round you ever shot here?
68 is my best score here.
Really?
Yeah.
On the 9 hole, or did you do the whole 18?
There's a couple things about shooting a 68 on your home course. Number one, it's great that you can brag about it, but number two is you have to put it in the computer and it stays there for a long time.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, and that means your handicap going the wrong way.
Trey, what's the best you ever got on your home course?
On my home course is 77. Best round I've ever shot in my life is 73 out at Kapalua.
Okay. All right.
Here, Jeff is
what
Jeff
a great
Feagles.
place to play
Oh my
golf.
God! But you can appreciate this. Okay, I'm playing out of my mind. I was level on the front side, and then I birdied the first 2 holes, and I texted my wife and said, I'm 2 under.
Why would you do that?
Her response was, "What are you doing? Put the phone down."
Concentrate.
Proceeded to go bogey, bogey, bogey.
Oh, that's the worst.
But I made it up with 2 birdies on the end to finish at 73. But I was like, I'm having an out of body experience, and I wanted to share it. And then my body came back to me. Yeah. And you've seen my body. You understand what a tragic mistake it is.
You know what you're doing to me? You're telling me right now where I can get Trey now.
Yeah.
It's the mental parts of the game, which I will start heckling him now. So, see, this is how we do it.
Research.
So as you guys were walking, and in Mike's case, stumbling around the golf course yesterday. By the way, I saw him coming on his way back. Jeff Feagles is with us from the tournament. I'm looking in the distance at this weird dude walking back to the hotel.
Weird indeed.
In these horrible shorts, these high socks, these boots, and he's got like a trash bag in one hand, and he's sort of leaning side to side. I'm like, oh my God, that guy needs some money. And I want my wallet, and it's Mike. Well, he's like, I had a few beers on the course.
Well, not only that, we drug him around here yesterday, and we did walk
we did.
quite a few miles yesterday, and Mike's like, man, thank God for the beers. I think this is like,
ridiculous.
Liquid Advil.
We call it swing oil when we're playing. For you, it was walking oil.
Yeah.
So you guys were started to make some parameters of a bet between.
No, it was
Feeds
Jeff. Jeff knows that you golf, and Jeff actually texted to me, and then when I just read it to him, he says, "I can't believe I made that bet."
Yeah.
You challenged Trey. What was the bet?
Well, I guess I got to say it because it's in writing.
Yeah.
So I told that I would give Trey 3 aside, and we'd play for $1,000.
Love it. All in.
You take that?
Sure.
Really?
Sure. 6 strokes.
Now,
I'll take it.
But here's the thing. So if you're going to come to play in our so-called match, it's not for $10 million, by the way, but it's for $1,000.
That's enough to make us uncomfortable.
Okay. Yeah. Then you have to come and officiate. Then
officiate?
Yeah.
You want him officiating?
Yes.
How do you
I want to make sure.
Officiate. You ride around in the golf cart, you get drunk,
Mikey.
and you watch.
Thank you. That's all I want you to do.
So Michael officiate Trey's play, and I'll officiate your play.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
I have a feeling there's no way I can win this with the two of you officiating. Somehow it's always going to go to him.
I'm just letting you know I like to officiate shirtless.
Yeah.
That's just sort of a thing.
That's a club thing that
We're
you're
not going to be able to do that here.
There it is.
You get far enough away from the clubhouse and it's no holds bar. That's what I've heard around here.
Now, I'll tell you what. You could paint a shirt on so that actually your
there
shirt
we
will
go.
be off.
See, this is my audition for ESPN The Magazine's body issue. I've been pushing this for a while. I've lost a lot of weight, feeling pretty good about myself.
More.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Jeff Fiegels is with us, longtime punter in the NFL, 22 seasons, was a teammate of yours, Super Bowl champion with the Giants. And to that point, Golic was out on our golf course a couple weeks ago, and a buddy of mine comes up and says, "Hey, Trey, I got to tell you, I was walking from the clubhouse, and I saw this guy walking up 18. His shirt was untucked. Everything was moving around. He just looked like a mess. I was going to go say something to the pro shop, and it was Golic.
No.
It was Golic walking around. It was a collarless shirt, which I guess is allowed.
So like Tiger Woods has the Nike ones. What's wrong with that? He can wear them.
That's kind of changed a little bit. We're kind of,
But the shirt was untucked. He was doing that 4-beer mosey that he was talking about.
At least my pants were on, okay?
That's a low bar.
Out here,
bar to
your
cross.
shirt is untucked. You get a letter.
Yeah. We get a letter at our place, too.
Yeah.
I got the letter on his behalf. I wasn't even my guest.
Yeah, that's true. I swear we're going to get into some Giant talk here. But
no, this is better.
But so the one time in my life, and I did get close to crossing the line a few times on the football field because I wasn't the greatest athlete in the world. But one thing I did is I stick up for my teammates, and I choked a guy one time on the field, and it was because of Jeff.
Yeah.
So,
and this is a good thing.
So it was a good thing.
So if he got arrested for assault, you would be aiding and abetting? Is that what it was?
No, I would completely say I have no idea who this is.
So Jeff was out on the field punting, obviously, and it was a pretty good return by the other team. So some guy was blocking Jeff. And as the play was ending, now I'm on the defense getting ready to come in, so I'm going to be coming on the field anyway. So as the play is starting to end, I'm starting to jog on the field, and I see this player taking a little extracurricular with Jeff while he's blocking him. He keeps blocking and keeps blocking and keeps blocking him and drives him into the ground. So I'm running on the field where the ball is, and I veered off, and people had to be going, where the hell is he going? I'm in a full...
You're the cavalry, like the bullpen baseball fight.
Sprint for this guy that just did that to Jeff.
That's a good friend.
I hit him off of him. I had the guy on the ground. I had both
him.
hands on his throat. I swear to you, I was strangling him.
Thank you, Mike.
And just cussing him out.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And then as they pulled me off, I thought, I probably shouldn't have done that, but it felt really good at the time.
Yeah, it looked good, too.
Could you imagine the full-on investigation that would be going on right now if you were choking a player in the middle of an NFL game?
Literally choking
Mikey,
him.
that was so long ago. They only had 3 cameras then.
Yeah.
Now they have like 20.
And plus, they weren't flagging anybody for anything back then.
By the way, it's amazing that, of all things, he's on television now because standard def did him no favors, and now we're in high def with Mike
really
Golic.
doesn't do him any favor.
Jeff Fiegels is with us. I got to ask you because punters always and kickers get this reputation of, whatever, you're on the team, but you're not really a football player.
Sure.
And that's not true because anything you do on the team contributes to the team's success. But there was a few years ago when the Rams were playing in Seattle, and Johnny Hecker was a very good athlete, has thrown a couple of touchdown passes, made some great plays and passes in his career to beat that one time, I think it was way deep in their own territory, and they threw that pass to keep the drive alive, and they beat Seattle. I think that same year they went up to Seattle, and he kicked the ball, and then Michael Bennett came at him, and he flinched and turned away. As a former punter, did you say, dude, you can't do that?
I would have never flinched.
He turtled completely just putting a great stain on all the punters
listen,
in the NFL.
I think Johnny Heckert is not a small guy.
No.
I mean, he's like 6'6".
No, he's not Michael
a big
Bennett,
dude, but he's not Michael Bennett. But I mean, unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to talk to him. Maybe next time I see him, I will have a little word with him. But yeah, I mean, you got to stand up to those guys. You really do.
Listen, you got position players flinching too. Terrell Pryor the other day with the
that's
flincher
right.
around
This
the world.
Redskins scrimmage.
Don't make this just a punter thing, all right?
That's right.
There's guys everywhere getting punked.
Thank you. Thank you.
To continue story time, so it gets to the point where I'm working in Phoenix, and I have a house right across from Jeff and Michelle, me and Chris do. And between the two of us, we have 7 kids, right, between the two of us. So, and we have they're young enough to where some are still using the Power Wheels thing, right?
The fake little cars.
Exactly.
The slow cars.
The slow cars.
They go so slow.
This went along the lines of having safety amongst kids. is we wanted to make that car faster. Jeff, tell everybody how you tried to make the Power Wheels car faster.
Well, first of all, for all of you who have young kids and you have to plug those stupid batteries in all the time and charge them, it's ridiculous. So the first thing we need to do is we got to get a bigger battery. So we got to get a small car battery and hook that thing up. Right? Car batteries last forever. You don't have to plug them in.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Well, Mike, tell the rest of the story.
He put a car
There's another issue why you don't put that in there.
He put a car battery on the back of it. Now, the one thing you would think is it weighted it down. Yeah. So when you put whoever was driving in the passenger seat in the seats, the car battery was behind it, it would lean backward.
I had to think that wouldn't have been a problem for your kids at an early age.
It still was because they were in the driver's seat and passenger seat. So we put a third person on the front hood, just sitting on the front hood. And this thing took off. And there's 3 kids going faster than they should on a Power Wheels, nobody in any kind of safe sitting position, and we all had a ball doing it.
And lest you think that's the end of automotive disaster for the Golic and Fiegels crew. It goes much deeper. So when we got a little bit older, we decided to upgrade the hardware, and so we bought go-karts. Each side of the street, we had go-karts. The Fiegels had a go-kart, and the Golics had a go-kart. These things could scoot a little bit, we had flat land in the neighborhood. We basically had a neighborhood set up in drag strips. It was perfect. And so we lined up on one side.
I feel like this is the Breaking Bad neighborhood, right?
This is 1,000% that neighborhood. Yeah. And so it's me, and I believe it was one of
probably CJ.
I think it was CJ.
I was gonna say it was Jake and CJ, and it was me and one of the cousins.
It was one of the boys' cousins.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
So I was riding with one of the boys' cousins. It was Jake and CJ in the other go-kart, and so we're going around there, and I was in front of those guys. I was coming around the turn of the cul-de-sac, and all of a sudden we turn in, and we just veer a little too close in the middle of the road. We collide head-on wreck in the 2 go-karts. It launches CJ out of the go-kart with Jake, breaks his collarbone, and we're all scrambling to try and figure out what the hell we're going to do.
The first day we got them, too. Oh my God. Yeah.
Trey, you know who I blame this on?
Yeah.
Costco.
Yeah, probably.
Costco
Don't sell
had
this
them.
stuff, man.
And Mike and I went there, and we saw them. I'm like, dude, look at these. He's like, we got to get these things. I'm like, we're going to get killed. He goes, who cares? Let's just bring them home.
And let's be clear, there were no helmets involved.
No helmets.
Yeah,
it was just speed and fury.
That's it.
So the breaking of bones and the gnashing of teeth.
So I have to ask, by putting up that car battery, clearly you wanted to hurt one of the Golic children. Which one was it?
Probably Mikey, because he was the oldest, and he ate the most food out of all the kids. We could sit up here forever, but Mikey, I remember Mikey, my distinct vision of Mikey is in that high chair over when we lived in the apartments, and there was just food constantly on that thing. And when he didn't like it, he threw it on the ground. And Mike would come over and go, "Well, then eat this. If you don't like this, then eat this." And he just kept feeding him food constantly.
That's why he's an O-lineman.
Not much has changed. I found out I wasn't a punt returner because of Jeff. We used to stand out in the middle of the street, and Jeff would just sit there and he would punt these balls sky high.
It was unreal.
And we'd all sit down here and we'd be looking up. We'd be looking up, judging. And then as soon as they would get close enough where we might actually have to catch, I dipped right out of the way. I was like, I'm not cut out for this.
Nope.
Put my hand in the dirt.
Not your cup of tea.
Punting in the street.
Street punting.
Listen, again, you know we're ready for football season when we just spent 30 minutes talking about punting.
Absolutely.
Jeff, great to have you on the show, man. Appreciate you. And I look forward to the 3-a-side. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
And we have it in
Jeff,
writing.
real quick, how are the Giants going to do this year?
Oh, they're going to be great. Do we have enough time to talk about them, too?
No, not really. No. They're going to sign Odell, right?
I think so. I think that'll get done.
That's all that matters.
There
Okay,
you
great.
go.
Thanks very much. Oh, and Saquon's hamstring is fine. Perfect. We've covered the Giants.
That's all you need to know.
Bingo. Golic and Wingo live today from New Jersey for the Giants-Jets matchup tonight. It is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Coming up, we couldn't come to a golf course and not have our favorite caddy on the show. And let's just say he dressed to impress. We'll get to that, Mike, after this.
Golic and Wingo.
Let's not expect too much. There's only one person out there that's expecting way too much out of this guy too early. We know who that is. It's his father.
And you can bring them to the golf course. You could bring the Golics to the golf course, but you can't take the Golics out of the Golics. That's just the way it is.
That one sounded a lot better in your head, didn't
I was like, in his head, he was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And as it started to come out, he was like, you know what, not so awesome.
He's like Alan in The Hangover doing all the math coming down the stairs, and then...
Let me just tell you, everything sounds... There are 2 shows that go on here, the one that actually comes out and the one that's in my head. The one in my head is always better.
Is the ringing in my ears bothering you?
Glad you're with us. Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio, live from the Northern Trust at the Ridgewood Country Club in Paramus, New Jersey. The first of the FedEx Cup playoffs on the PGA Tour were presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And that disembodied voice you're hearing on the radio is none other than Michael Collins from the Maddie and the Caddy podcast, joining us on the set, giving us the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. Collins also, of course, one of our great...
I'm in a straight jacket.
Yes, our great PGA Tour and golf analyst. And by the way, I wish we were on TV, because right now he's a former caddy. He has got the coveralls on.
I got the jumpsuit.
Got the jumpsuit on, and maybe more importantly, we should explain, you have the yellow bucket hat in memory of Jared Lyle.
I'm going to be wearing this today throughout the day because these are just released by Titleist. And earlier in the week, Titleist gave yellow bucket hats or baseball caps as well to all their staff players. And just if you want to wear them and do a little something for Jared Lyle, the PGA Tour pro who passed away of cancer just a little while ago, actually would have turned 37 earlier this week. And Titleist now has come out because Jared wore a yellow bucket hat with Titleist on it after the first time that he fought cancer and beat it. I keep thinking about what Stuart Scott said. You know, you fight like hell until you're too tired to fight, and then you let someone else fight for you. And Jared just got a little bit tired, so we got to fight for him. And Titleist is donating every single cent made from the sale of these hats to Jared's family.
That's fantastic.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's our fight for Jared.
Yeah. And I must say, for those that don't know, Jared Lyle, he was not one of the bigger names on tour.
Nah.
He didn't have a ton of wins, but it is amazing to me how many players in golf, how many people in golf really just can't stop saying how many great things about Jared Lyle.
That's how small of a family that we are out here, is everyone knows everyone. And you know, he was one of the most friendly, fun guys to be around, was very self-deprecating. And if you want to Google Jared Lyle, you can Google Celebration Hole-in-One.
Yes.
Yeah, Waste Management Phoenix
16th
Open.
Hole.
He made a hole-in-one there and had one of the really funny celebrations when he did it. You know, because he was a big guy.
Yes, he was.
So it wasn't like he was going to be running around.
No. Yeah.
So he did a kind of in-place celebration, which was awesome.
God knows everybody was celebrating all the time on that hole.
Well,
so
that hole,
that's
you don't have. We don't care where you hit it. We're going to celebrate.
Yeah. So looking to this tournament now, the first of 4 for the FedEx Cup playoffs.
Yep.
So it goes 125 here, then down to 100, then I think 70,
and 5 guys aren't here this week, so there's no substitutes.
So
120.
Okay, so how do players play this tournament different than the regular tour, knowing the only way you're getting in the next, if you're in that upper echelon, you got to get within the top 100 now. So does it change your game?
Or for the guys, let's say if you're 35th, what you want to do is you want to kick some booty this week so that you can get inside the top 30. Because once you're inside the top 30, you want to stay there because that gets you in the Tour Championship, which gets you into everything. So that's one of the big question marks. Patrick Rogers, who's number 93, he started the week out 93rd, isn't here. His girlfriend's sister or brother is getting married in Scotland, so he pretty much gave up his playoffs to go to a wedding in Scotland.
Wow, dude. That's interesting.
This isn't wifey. It's girlfriend.
That is something. So, wow.
How frustrated are you if you're the caddy in that situation, knowing what's on the line?
As a caddy, why should I be mad? I'm mad for the caddy because that's his money. Like, that's the percentage. That's his percentage check. And you're giving up a whole bunch of money, too. Then, depending on where you finish, there's also bonus money involved as well.
So does it change the way guys play when they're looking for placing now, or do you not let it?
I mean, no. The only time you would worry about something like that is if you were in, like, 12th or 13th place coming down the stretch on a Sunday and you know, had a par 5 with water involved, and then do you go for the par 5 or not? You don't necessarily have a chance to win, but if you were 90th in the points, you don't want to make a bogey there, so you'd probably lay up. And as a caddy, too, you're like, okay, we're going to lay back here. Par is going to be the worst score we're going to make. But you're not on the course going.
But if you're 105th, you may have to try and take
If you're 105th, and you're 65th on the list, and now it's like, okay, man, here's the 3-wood.
Go time.
Fire it up, man. Do what you got to do. Let's go. Come on.
All right, Michael Collins is with us here on the set as we are here at the Northern Trust at the Ridgewood Country Club. The first stop in the FedEx Cup playoffs on the PGA Tour. So this is all nice and wonderful. We'll see how this plays out. But let's get to the real story here.
I know
you're that guy. You are
What?
that
Me?
guy.
What? Me?
He is the one that has started the instigation and the trash talk.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You had an interview yesterday or 2 days ago with Phil Mickelson where you basically set him up to just talk about the match between Phil and Tiger coming up Friday.
I did not set him up. The announcement of the match came out,
Yeah.
and he magically appeared on Twitter.
Yes.
I just happened to be the only guy with a camera on the 18th when he finished his Pro-Am round, so I was good. I got to ask him about it.
He's a journalist. You got to ask the question.
I wouldn't call myself a journalist.
Call yourself a guy with a camera.
Those are some fighting words.
So anyway, for those that didn't hear it, basically Phil said to you, because he thought it was going to be $10 million at that time, he says it's going to be the easiest $10 million I'm ever going to make, which we decided is the most golfiest thing ever to say. Of all the tens of millions that I've made, this 10 will be the easiest. Spalding, take your foot off the boat was the first thing I thought of there. So that started
But that's golf smack
That
talk.
is golf smack talk. So then after Tiger's round, you asked Tiger about what Phil said, and he responded with his own smack talk.
Well, he came back. The way he said it at first, I was like, well, that's kind of weak. And then he paused and was like, that's all I got to say. And I was like, oh, you know what? That's kind of strong. And basically, Tiger, when I told him, look, here's what Phil says, it's going to be the easiest $9 million he ever made. And Tiger goes, and I go, how's your smack talk game? And he goes, if I remember correctly, I'm minus 180.
Which is mean he's the betting favorite.
Yes, he is.
In Vegas.
Here in this.
And then he laughed and said, that's all I got to say.
And Tiger doesn't do as much talking as Phil, but when he does it in that way. And I recall this story, and I know you're familiar with it. Stephen Ames, for whatever reason, chose to poke the bear when Tiger was at his best. And Stephen Ames, fine tour player, won a couple events.
Yep.
From Trinidad and Tobago by way of Canada, for those people that don't know.
Because that's the normal route.
Exactly right. So he made some comments, and then he and Tiger were paired together.
Well, hold on. You got to say, the comments that he made, Tiger was hitting it all over the place.
Yes.
And they were going to play in match play,
In match
someone
play.
asked Stephen Ames, how do you feel about getting matched against Tiger? And he goes, well, you know what? The way Tiger's hitting it right now, he's beatable.
Yeah.
Anybody can beat him.
And then what was the final score of that match?
9-8.
9-8.
They finished in 12 holes.
For those that don't know match play, that's the best you can beat anybody. That's
right.
You can't beat anybody more than I have won 9 holes and we have 8 to play. That's it. That's the worst beating anybody can take in match play. So when Tiger was asked after that round, hey, did Stephen Ames' comments that fuel your fire? He said, 9-8. That's all I got to say.
And that's all he said right there. Now, see, he says that all the small smack talk that he does publicly, when you play him in match play, he will talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
He'll talk.
Michael, I guess that's the thing for me in this. Are we going to get a little bit of that? Because we see all the cameras, everything. There's going to be a lot of focus on these guys. But are we going to see that separation because it's a pay-per-view event where we'll get a little bit of the real from them?
There better be.
There's going to be, right? There has to be.
I hope so.
Like, that's what I'm worried about in here is, are we going to get what we're actually looking for in
You know what I want? I want some pre-fight. I was going to say fight because Tiger was comparing it to a boxing match.
It kind of feels that way, right?
So I want some pre-golf match press conferences where you're talking smack ones back and forth. Because here's the problem that I have, and I'll be totally honest. Let's say they're like, okay, $9 million, it's pay-per-view, and it's $29.99. You know who ain't paying that money? Me. I ain't paying the. Don't tell me we're growing the game and we're doing this to bring it to the masses, but it's $30. Because it'd be like someone coming to me going, look, man, I know you've never seen cricket before, but it's awesome, and we're going to show you this cricket match. You just got to give me $30. I'll be like, yeah, nah. I'm not even watching cricket. I got to pay you to watch. Nah, that's all right.
So
I'm good.
One of the things that also that goes on the course that we don't get to see is we had a question out there to our listeners and our viewers is the side bet. What side bet would you have?
Right, exactly.
But for real, though,
yes.
When these guys in their practice rounds or whatever, what kind of bets do these guys make amongst themselves?
Okay, so there are very well-known, it's called the Tuesday matches.
Okay.
And they play for some serious money with some pressing and whatnot. And so they'll play the numbers can get up there with a bunch of zeros.
What's the most you've heard?
The most that I've ever heard has hit 4 zeros.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where a guy had to say I'm going to have to give you a check because I don't have that kind of cash on me.
Do you take a check?
Because what happens, you start pressing and stuff like that.
Right.
If it was that much money, I'll walk with you to the car. You ain't leaving. Come on. Open the passenger door. We're going to ride to the ATM together, man.
Were you still caddying in 2010?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kevin Streelman.
Yeah, you were with Streels.
Yeah.
Streels.
Streels and I won the Kodak Challenge.
Yeah.
The first year it was out. It was either 09 and then after Streels. So I was either caddying for Kevin Streelman or Scott Piercy.
Okay. Because I walked a practice round with Phil and I think Dustin Johnson, maybe Matt Kuchar. I can't remember, before the 2010 U.S. Open at Pebble.
Yeah.
There was action on every shot.
Oh, yeah.
On every shot.
And that's what's going to matter when it comes down to it with the match. It's two things. One, the side bet action that they got when they are out on the golf course.
Right.
And I want them to play for something non-monetary.
Yes.
I did. Remember, we talked about it before.
We did. Yeah.
I said to Phil, man, par 3 contest at the Masters. And he was like, nah, I don't know if we're going to do that.
That would be awesome.
That would make them more uncomfortable. And we'll get into much more of that with Michael Collins, Maddie, Caddy, and the podcast here with us. And we'll have more with Michael, who I may or may not have called Phil Collins.
Yeah,
I did. I did.
Studio.
That's the song we played in our outside studio here.
I can feel it on the golf course tonight.
We will get to all of that, and that's why he's staying around after this. Say words.
Golic
Makes me want to vomit and then punch you square in the face.
and Wingo.
Oh, he's saucy today.
Gotta say, no one at this golf course seems upset that I'm fully naked right now. It is really weird.
Oh, God.
Sports Center brought to you by Sport Clips. Sorry, there's ketchup on the microphone. Do your hair a favor by checking in online and arriving just in time for your Sport Clips MVP haircut experience while you surround yourself with sports on TV. Great cut, massaging shampoo, and a hot steam towel. Claim your spot today at sportclips.com/check-in.
We are just making absolute pigs out of ourselves right now.
As we should, because we're here at the Northern Trust at the Ridgewood Country Club in Paramus, New Jersey, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests joined us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And listen, you knew this was coming, right? We had Jeff Fiegels on.
Yeah, we did.
We were talking about how guys like him and Jay Feely just stand around, basically don't do anything. I just got a text from Jay Feely.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. Basically
Yelling
saying,
at you?
Basically, hey, whatever you'd have to do to tell yourself what is right there. So he's chiming in on the idea that kick. And I always say to Jay, I've never seen a kicker look better in the tightest jersey or golf shirt he's ever worn on a golf course.
Yeah.
I mean, those shirts and jerseys that Jay wears, they're spray on. They come out of an aerosol
really
can.
is. It's just very,
sun's out, guns out for Jay Field.
Very hard for me to take you seriously. I look at you. You have food all over your mouth and over your microphone.
Well, it's important to be consistent.
We're eating food here from Shake Shack, Luke's Lobster, and Sanducci's. The pizza is unbelievable. Oh, my God. Michael Collins with us still. You just had a lobster roll. What
What
your
are you
lobster
talking
roll's
about?
gone.
Pass me a piece of that bacon pizza, man.
So Michael, I have to ask because listen, we're here. It's a PGA event.
I eat caddy style.
PGA Tour event.
I guess that's my question is when you go around to these, what's the best food fare you've ever had at a course?
Oh, New Orleans.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do we got?
Zurich Classic.
Zurich Classic.
The Zurich Classic on that Wednesday Pro-Am, they have food on every other hole.
Oh, man.
Beignets?
Beignets and coffee every morning. So no matter how good of a night you had on Tuesday night, you're going to be okay.
You're absorbed.
You're good to somewhat absorbed. Yes.
Have you ever played the Madison Club out in Palm Desert? And oh my God, they have something. They call it the 5-pound round at that place.
Really?
At the 9th hole, they serve you Kobe beef sliders. It is ridiculously good.
The burger dogs at the Olympic Club.
All burger dogs are very
We were talking
strong.
about Phil Mickelson.
Yep.
Phil Mickelson came 3 fairways across to get 2.
No way.
Yes.
Did he really?
Yes.
Oh, I
they
respect
hadn't even
the
been
heck out of
open
that.
yet, and the guy was like, "Oh, we're not really," and he was like, "Oh, you're not." All right, Phil, we can.
I was going to imagine they opened it for him. Yeah,
he got 2.
3 to get 2.
Gotta
love that.
Well, if you're going to make that trip across a few fairways, you got to have roadies,
It's going to have
right?
to last me for a while.
That's exactly
All
right.
right, this
Wow.
bacon is stupid good.
All right, I got to tell you.
Yeah.
I've never had a Shake Shack burger before.
Phenomenal, aren't they?
This is not the last time that's happened.
You know, they opened up one back at home. So.
Really?
Yeah.
We are all good to go on there. All right, we're out here. We got like a minute left, Michael. It's something golf-related. Looking forward to this weekend right now. Who are you most excited to see out here going into this weekend?
I don't know about excited, but the way Tiger hit it yesterday, I'm actually nervous for him because there's no wind. The course is playing perfect. So if he shoots anything over par, he's not going to be here on the weekend.
Yeah. Well,
which is dangerous.
He had, I believe, at least 5 birdie putts inside of 15 feet. I think he made one of them.
That's true, but he only hit 11 out of 18 greens.
Yeah, that's a problem.
So it's a big stretch for him.
Yeah, it's a huge stretch for him, especially if he's trying I mean, he's already inside that number to make the Tour Championship, which is good. But he's also trying to impress to be on the Ryder Cup. But I say impress with the air quotes because he's one of the deciding guys. That'd be like me voting for me being fat. Like, I'm not sure. I got to go to the committee and kind of talk as I'm being. I'm not 100% sure. Normally I wear 32s, but 40's still better.
He's trending in a great direction right now.
Well, listen, we had Jim Furyk, the Ryder Cup captain, on, and let's just say sometimes an unknown is known.
Yeah. Trey, suppressing a burp is the perfect way to end this show.
And that's the way we're going to do it, as we are done here, and they're kicking us off the golf course because we've made too much noise.
Taking the food with us.
Real quickly, you want to play golf later on this afternoon?
No.
That's the way the show ends always.
This has been the Best of Golic and Wingo podcast. You can listen or subscribe on the ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or just ask your smart speaker to play Golic and Wingo. Plus, you can check the guys out live weekday mornings from 6 to 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN News.